How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Heights Garage's Shop Talk. Your favorite, not so famous yet, automotive podcast. Sorry we didn't get on an episode last week. We just had a couple things to do. Unfortunately, we're not full-time podcasters here. That would be great. That's the end goal. So you guys can keep supporting, keep listening, support our dreams, and then we can quit our jobs. So, thanks for listening. Today's episode, this week, back to school. You know, you got kids. They're starting to wake up early again. Everybody's doing their thing. Everybody's packing up their backpacks, filling up the WSS on 4th Street. Everybody's got their new kicks. You know what I'm talking about, right? We all remember the good old days when our parents used to take us wherever you went. Where there was the mall, Fallas Paredes, because those things are ancient now. They don't exist. Or you went to the swap meet or something. You got to pick up your whole first, I would say first day, but really it was like your whole first week outfits, right? If you didn't have uniform, you were staging for that first week, and then it was kind of like, wow, that's blown through all my cool shirts. You go to the outlet store, Citadel. If you're in the Los Angeles area, go to that Vans store. Buy one, get one free, or buy one, get one half off. Everybody gets some shoes. If you're lucky, you get a new backpack, shoes, the whole getup. Walking to school. And you're like, oh man, I hope I look different, right? Like that was the whole thing. You're like, dang, I hope I go back to school, and someone's like, oh wow, you got taller, or you gained some muscle. Hopefully, no one makes fun of you because you look weird or something. But anyways, with that being said, you're going back to school, and I don't just mean K through 12. I'm talking about you're trying to change your life. You've been contemplating. Maybe I'll go to school this semester. Maybe I'll go to school next semester. Well, no, you got to do it right now. And they can work with you after work. They can work with you before work. Do whatever you got to do to graduate. Just got to go talk to somebody right now. It's easy. Little Easter egg for y'all if you don't know what I'm talking about. But maybe you're thinking of getting into automotive career. And you don't know where to start. You don't want to necessarily hop into a shop because you're a little intimidated. You're like, I've never touched a car before. The only thing I know about ACs is how to turn it on and blast it. The only thing I know about cars is that I go and get boba in it. And now you're thinking like, well, I'd love to learn how to do my own oil change, and I'd love to learn how to fix other people's cars. Maybe I could do this as a side job, a side hustle. You're like, I just want a little more information. So you go online, you look up how to be a dope-ass mechanic, and guess what? You find out that you can go to your local community college, or any college really, and they offer automotive technology courses. But you're like, I don't know if I should do it. Maybe I can just go into a shop, and you're damn right you can. You can just walk into a shop. You hiring? Yeah, why? I got free time. Tired of sitting on my couch. Let's get my hands dirty. I'm here to tell you, if you want to go that route, more than happy to go that route. I know a number of guys that didn't go to college, didn't take an automotive technology class. They're great technicians. Start off in a shop as a lube tech. You're slinging tires. You move your way up. You learn how to do brakes. They let you. They trust you to do an oil change or two. You overfill a car. You don't screw on the oil filter, right? It leaks. But you learn from that. Like I said, if that's the route you want to go, that's perfectly fine. Me, on the other hand, I did go to school. I was that guy. Little lost little kid. The whole world in front of him. Didn't know what I was going to do with my life. Just watching TV, playing video games all day. Had a part-time job at night. Shout out to the music center. But also, fuck Greg Flusky. If you know, you know. So there I was, not doing anything. A little part-time job. Making like $200 a week, thinking, hell, I could take over the fucking world with this money. But then life starts hitting you. You're like, damn, I want my own car. I don't want to be 19, 20, asking my dad if he can still pick me up and drop me off like I'm a fucking little kid. So on one faithful day, there I am, watching TV again. Turn on the tube to Discovery, Velocity, whatever it was at the moment, Motor Trend. This little show called Fast and Loud is on. And I see these two guys. One master mechanic, one master businessman who loves cars. Building hot rods and making money. And I thought, wow, that was cool. Gas Monkey Garage. Aaron Kaufman, you're my idol. If you're listening to this, come down. Let's chat. Let's talk on the podcast. Master fabricator, master mechanic. Just a straight up cool guy. I'm thinking to myself, well, I want to be that. What do I got to do? Granted, we do have a family friend who works at our local community college. Shout out to the East LA Huskies and shout out to Soki. I ask her for some help. Hey, what do I got to do? How do I enroll? Well, what's the next step? She's excited. She's like, finally. Tired of hearing of your bum ass not doing anything. No, I'm kidding. But she was excited. She was like, of course I can help you out with that. So, she sent me to the right spot. I do my little placement test. Your boy tested pretty good on math. Don't know how, but only needed 2 math classes. But anyways, I do that. Sit down with the counselor. They break down what you got to do. If you want a AA degree or if you just want your certificate. And I'm like, man, you know what? I'm gonna get my AA degree. That sounds pretty cool. Be kind of the first one in my family to graduate from college. Walk that stage. Husky pride forever. So anyways, I get into it. And you always got to start off on the 101 classes. No matter what it is, it'll be like for anything. 101 scientists. Doctor 101. Nursing 101. The teaching 101. So the little prerequisite. In the automotive technology world, you take that 101 class. You got to pass it to take the advanced classes. The ones I took was shout out and rest in peace to the great legendary Mr. Pena. It was a 5-week course. Not knowing what I'm getting myself into, not knowing much about cars, I was intimidated. I was still a young buck. Never touched an engine before. Only had my license for two years or something. I wanted to see what the world had to offer. So there I go into Mr. Pena's class, breaking down what we're gonna do for these next 5 weeks, breaking down what we got to get done. Again, I'm scared. I ain't got no friends in there. I don't know nobody. I'm trying to figure it out. This particular class, you get it's an online book. You had to buy it. They give you a code. You download it. The savages would print out the whole book. I try to do that. It's hard when you ain't got a printer. 10 cents a sheet. Jesus, man. We were in that library for hours trying to do that. But anyways, you print out your little worksheets, and every day you do an hour of lab. You do an hour of in shop. And it is 5-week courses, meaning you go Monday through Friday. from like 12 to 5. And you think like, damn, that's a lot. But you know what is cool? Because we are in the shop. We're joking around. We're in the classroom. What Mr. Pena would do, he would have a slideshow based on the chapter that we were working on, and we would go through the slide, and then we'd be like, all right, so this is basically what you're going to do on your worksheets. And with those worksheets, we would go out into the shop. We would take our little break, quote unquote lunch, because they would try and run it as a functioning shop. So you take your little lunch, you come back. All right, cool. Everybody got their safety glasses? Yeah. All right. Go into the shop. Hope you don't step on Mr. B's toes, because that dude was scary. But you go into the shop, you have your little worksheets, and it's simple in the 101 class. It's very simple. It's like finding the lift points of a car, of this truck. And at E-Like, we had donor cars. Literally cars that people had donated to the shop that are like on their last limb. So, we can pick them apart. We can break them, build them, fix them, all that. So that's what we would use. I don't know. I'm sure other schools, they have the same thing. So you do that. One of them was like lift points with the actual lift. One was with a floor jack. Put it on jack stands. It was simple stuff. How do you mount a tire, dismount a tire? We learned all that. Mr. Pena would take us into the shop. All right, today we're going to do this, lift points. And it's funny now that I'm actually looking back and remember, dude, I was freaking out. I was like, what the fuck is this? I don't know this. It's like, you don't just bench the car and hope you don't die. No, there's actual lift points. There's pinch welds. The frame, the bracing. So you do that. I remember I did it with the homie's car. It was a little Corolla. And we're lifting it. I'm jacking it up. And he goes, when you drop it, because he had did it, he's like, just be careful with the jack. And for those of you who don't know, when you lift something in a jack, dang, okay, Harley. When you lift something with a jack, you got to tighten it to the right so that it actually goes up. And then when you twist the bar to the left, it drops the car down. Or drops the jack. Well, I didn't know. If you don't know what you're doing, you gotta kind of be. You gotta have that special touch. If you know, you know. You gotta do it slowly, firmly. You gotta grasp it. Show it who's boss. And I didn't know that, so there I go. Boom! Crank it to the left. That thing just drops. Boom! No damage, no harm, no foul. We didn't really lift it high enough to cause any damage, I should say. Still, it was intimidating. It was scary. I was like, ooh, sorry, bud. But you get to this class, and with this class, you can, confidently step into a shop and start off as a lube tech, right? And that's what a lot of people did. They would end up working at Pet Boys down on Atlantic. And what is it, 3rd Street? Other little mom and pop shops. Because when you're there, they do have some job placement. I mean, these guys, the professors were all over the industry. So they know people. And, yeah, they would actually help you. They're like, hey, they're starting to hire. They actually asked me if they knew anybody here, blah, blah, blah. And then you would go, whatever. But you do that one-on-one class. Just that one-on-one class alone is definitely going to help you big time. Whether you are just slinging tires or a lube tech. All you do is oil change. This is going to help you. Because again, you go into a shop, you don't necessarily know what lift points are. You don't know how to lift the car. You're going to do something. You can cause some damage. Not only to your car, but to yourself. There's all kinds of videos on the internet. All kinds of videos on like TikTok and Instagram where one of the big ones is like the dude that has the Lexus and he's jacking it up from the front right passenger side and he's lifting it, right? But he's jacking it up and it's not on the lift point. It's actually on the plastic like rocker panel on the side. And you just hear the cracking and boom, it drops. And that's like one of the best things that can happen if you're in that situation. If it makes sense, because it could completely fall, and you're shit out of luck. Hopefully, you're not under the car when that happens. The same goes for when you're on a lift. You don't know the lift points. You don't know what you're doing. There's too many times where I've seen, someone's lifting it wrong, and one of the arms is you're just able to swing it in and out. That's not good either. Again, bunch of videos on the internet. You see someone trying to jack up a truck. Next thing you know, that thing's flipping over. And one of the dumbest things you can do, I understand it's like a reaction, but one of the dumbest things you can do when you see a car and like the front is going back, so it looks like it's going to do like a handstand or something, or even when it's going forward, people try to like, oh, let me grab this truck, this fucking 4,000-pound truck from the bumper, and let me just bring it down. No, you're going to get slingshotted, and we're just going to see you yeet across the damn shop because you think you're a freaking Hercules. Listen, we all seen the Fast and the Furious movies, all right? We all know they're fake, right? You don't got that crazy Dominic Toretto strength. Vin Diesel doesn't even have that crazy Dominic Toretto strength. You're not going to do it. Impossible. You're not the star of this movie. The car on the lift is, and guess what? It's going to knock you out. And so, taking a class, even if it's a shop class in high school, if you're still privileged enough where your high school has shop class, I would recommend doing it. It's one of those skills that I think everybody should kind of know. And I'm not saying just lift points, but I'm saying like, if you could do preventative maintenance, if you could do your own oil change, spark plugs, that's a good basis. There's no shame in having to take your car to get worked on for something bigger than that, other than that. But why not? It's like, we complain like, oh, we don't learn how to do taxes in school. We don't learn how to balance a checkbook or do this or budget this, that. Well, this is one of those life skills that everybody should have. Because even if you learn one thing and it's to put your spare tire on the side of the road, guess what? You won. You learned something valuable. And that's what these classes can teach you. And that's the whole point of this episode. We're going back to school, baby. Back to the basics. There's no need to be ashamed of it. We're all here to learn. We're all here to make mistakes. And we're all here to make fun of one another. No feelings on this podcast. And so you're debating, should I take this class? And I think yes. Of course, I am a little biased because I did take this class and I did complete the whole course and all that. But you know what? Better for it. When I stepped into my first shop at the Firestone Complete Auto Care, I don't want to say I was already the best, and I never reached the best, honestly, because homeboy Caesar had been there for 22 years. But I did have a step up. It helps you, right? I knew how to check tire pressure. I knew how to lift cars. I knew how to do an oil change, check dot numbers. I knew how to mount and dismount tires, balance them. And I had tools. I knew how to use, basic hand tools and impact guns and torque wrenches and all that. And that's one thing you honestly might not even learn out in these streets on that backyard of yours. You just hit it, hit them lug nuts, give it 2 ooga-doogas, you'll be all right. Next thing you know, you're driving down the highway and you're like, man, something's on fire. You look in your rear view mirror, your side mirror, your dang wheel fell off and it's chasing you. Sparks everywhere. No bueno. But we're here to go back to school. And I'm here to tell you to do it. You're debating. I mean, there's no negative to it, really. I mean, other than time. But you got time to do nothing. You got time to do this, right? Boom. There's the quote of the day. Make that into a t-shirt. TM, I should actually say after that. You got time to do nothing. You got time to learn about cars. But anyways, Yeah, it's just all time. We all got it. And for me, what I would do, like I said, I did those 5 week courses, and in about 2 years, maybe less, I don't really remember, I was done. Not only that, I was also a full time student. I didn't feel like a full time student, and I was able to get that FAFSA, financial aid, baby. It looked good. It looked really good on my transcripts, even though that I wasn't going to transfer, and I thought that I was going to get an AA degree. But then once I finished the course, I was like, why am I in this English class and I don't need this anymore? So again, it's all on you guys. I was close, but I was just like, you know what? It's not for me anymore. School was never my forte, and that's why I'm in the business of getting oiled up. It's just how it is. But it's not a bad thing, right? Because, yeah, again, you can get thrown into a shop and you just figure it out. Or you can have some prior knowledge. Why not? Why wouldn't you want some prior knowledge? Not only that, you're in this school, you're in this class, you can break things, and it's not costly, right? Break a lug nut, dang, it's broken. Well, guess what? It's fine. It's the school's car. It's meant to be broken. You get another lug nut, and you're good. You're good. That's it. It's all learning. It's all learning. The best way to learn is to fuck up. And that's what you're going to do in these classes. You're going to fuck up. And then get you prepared for a shop, right? Because you mess up here in this class, people make fun of you. Guess what? You're the one who's going to pass that final with a B or an A. It's all good, though. And we have gotten this question. We have done it on our 1 minute podcast on Instagram. If you would like to follow us and check those videos out, you can. On Instagram at the Heights Garage. On TikTok at the Heights Garage. And people asked, and people we got comments like, oh, like, yeah, this is what I did, or I went here. And then people asked like, oh, what about UTI or what is it? I don't know. Those colleges that you see the ads on TV and those commercials, and now they pop up in your Instagram. And yeah, that's cool. Definitely go for it. If that's the only option you have, I would say hit up your local community college first. Around here, it's ELAC, and the best one that I've seen is Rio Hondo. And I'm not saying ELAC's bad or anything, but Rio Hondo has more options, and I think you can even get your master's degree in this field. So you go through it, and you can do body, mechanical work, and then like behind the desk stuff, which is service writers. They're a different breed. But yeah, so you go through all their course, and you do your general ed and stuff, and you end up with a master's in like some science of automotive industrial learning in habitats of the future or something. So Rio Hondo's got really good options. ELAC has got really good options. And it's cheap. It's cheap. They are community college. I know that when you go to like the UTI or the legit trade schools, very first day they're hitting you with the syllabus and the list of tools that you need. So already off the bat, you're kind of committing yourself to this. And when I started at ELAC, you didn't have to do that. You didn't need all these tools because the school provided us with the tools. And I'm not just talking any tools. No, they gave us that snap-on certification, baby. And you would just go into the tool room, and then you would fill out a paper. Okay, I need a 3/8 ratchet. I need the 10 millimeter socket, an extension, oil filter pliers, and that was it. And then the tool guy would give it to you, and then you would give them your student ID, and then you would return it. That way you don't steal anything, or if they know, all right, like this dude didn't return his tools, well, I have a student ID. I know he's gonna come back, or I know who it is. Anyways. Moral of the story is you didn't have to drop a single dime. Your financial aid, nothing. You just bought your book, and that was it. Versus when I was at Firestone and you did your introductory training, they would ship us out to over here at Baldwin Park, by Knott's, and we would do a week-long training with, other stores that were in our area with other guys, and they would talk about it, and they're like, oh yeah, I went to UEI, or IC, whatever, the ICDC college, or those trade schools, and they would say like, yeah, man, like I had a full box, I had all this, like I'm in debt now, like I'm 30 grand in debt. And it's like, damn, like why they don't say that on the TV, bro. They just say, you get out there and you get a job. Finish our course in 72 months or 36 months. You'll have a career in the automotive industry. And you're already in debt. Ta-da. Congrats. But you hear the people, I think some dude went to like Pierce College. I think it was a community college or something. It was something. Point is, everybody that went to community colleges, they were like, no, like I'm good. I didn't have to buy any tools. I didn't have to take out any loans. Financial aid covered it. And so if we're breaking it down even more, if I had to pick, community college or the trade schools, I would definitely go to community college because, like I said, you're saving money. The financial aid is helping you out, and they have the tools there for you. Even on like, I remember the professor told us too. He went to Trade Tech out here in downtown LA, and he was like, "Yeah, when I went, it was literally like the first day. It was, and they gave you just a list. So think of when you went back to school, right? And your teacher would give you the list of things you needed. You need a composition notebook, number 2 pencils, an eraser." Some loose paper, college ruled, because we're adults now, things like that. But this was like to the 10th power. It would break down every wrench, socket, extension, ratchet, everything. It broke it down. So instead of you being able to like slowly gather it up, it was like, nah, man, we're here today. By next week, you need it. Not, then you couldn't take the class. That was that. And that might discourage a lot of people. It might discourage everybody, especially when you're fresh out of high school and you're like, oh, I'm going to do this so that I can get my career now. And you're already like, it's already a whole thing. You're trusting an 18-year-old to take out this big ass loan that even after they're done with school and they don't necessarily have a job, they're automatically going to be set back and have to pay it. And like I said, it might discourage people. Whether at the very beginning or, when they're in the middle of it, they're like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. Next thing you know, you're like, well, I already bought like $15,000 in tools. So what am I going to do? And of course you can always sell it, but you're not going to get the full price. Come on, guys. Come on. We've all been on OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace. You ain't getting the full price. You're not getting me for the full price. I'm lowballing you. Yeah, on the Snap-on website it's $300, but on Facebook Market it's $100, son. I ain't paying that. So definitely, my biased opinion, take it with a grain of salt. Go to community college, find out how to get in, schedule it. At ELAC, they had during the day, they had in the middle of the day, and they had classes at night. I went from like 6 to 10. They had 5-week courses, or they had the full semester courses. Of course, I did the 5-week courses because I was able to. Did that, and then I had my part-time job after class. I was able to get through it. Boom. But if you can stay out of debt, why not? And just the experience of it. Like I said, they would run it like a shop. You would go in, they had like 6 bays. You could bring in your own car. Hopefully the thing that was wrong with it was based on the class you were doing. Like I wanted to change the brakes on my Ford Fiesta. Shout out to my boy Ken Block for influencing me so hard, son, that I went and bought myself a Fiesta ST because I was like, I'm going to become a rally driver. Just like Kenny B. Rest in peace to that guy, right? But yeah, you were in there. You had to sign it in. They give you a little sheet, to check off. Make sure, all right, yep, this was dented. This is bad. You check the tire pressure, torque, all that. torque the wheels down, all that. Make sure the lift points are fine. Shake the car before you zip it all the way up. And it was fun because, again, it was class. It wasn't too serious in that if you did break something, it wasn't going to cost the customer. You didn't have to call anybody like, oh, well, we need more money. If it was your own car, then obviously, yeah, but it was your own mistake, right? We do this in our backyards all the time. Why not do it in this class? Learn something, get paid financial aid, and then, be done with it and have a plaque or something that says, hey, this guy won't fuck up your car too bad. But it was fun. You meet people. Some of us met lifelong friends. You build relationships. You're a professor. You end up working with one of your classmates. That's what it was. It's just like a shop, only less serious. And you could cheat with the person next to you. But yeah, back to school, man. It brought them flashbacks of stepping into ELAC for the first time, of walking into that classroom, and everybody spread out. Big old desks that go across the whole classroom. The projector that Mr. Pena would project all the stuff in. The random parts that we had all around the classroom. The transmission class that was next door, which was literally just an empty classroom, like more of a shop room, and it had a bunch of automatic transmissions and manual transmissions that we would do obviously during the transmission class. We would break them down, put them back together, take our tests. We would have to gap all this stuff, and it was just like, dang. And that was what, in 2016 or something, 2016, 2015, something like that. So again, I'm not a mathematician. 7 years ago? It's crazy to think. 7 years ago, stepped into that classroom for the first time. Met my buddies. Passed that 101 class. I think the next one was like AC. Got my max certification. Your boy can buy that R134. Possibly that R123YF WXYZ. And it was fun. It's good times. Met cool people. Oh, that too. If you're like Eli, you have the like auto tech club, do it. Definitely do it. You get to race one of those little cars, and you're just around the shop more often. And if you're at ELAC, Mr. B, don't tell him I said this, but he'll cut you a little more slack. But back to school, man. Crazy times, easier times. We're just there learning. We're just there messing it up. Trying not to blow up the shop, which, by the way, even when I was there, I was taking the class, and the last class that you could take, it's during the summer, and it's the actual shop class. So we run it just straight like a shop. There's no classroom. You're automatically in the shop. So this was the time when the professors would come in. They can get an oil change, or you do like your family member a favor. You can do an alignment, brakes, anything really. You could do anything, honestly. And yeah, so you would sign it in and everything, and you would bring your parts or whatever. And so before I took that class, I had like a gap in between that. So it was like, I don't know, let's say like engine repair, right? And then it was a 5-week class. So a semester is like, you could do like 3 classes in a semester, 15 weeks or something, maybe even more. Anyways, so there was a gap in between that. And so I wasn't at ELAC for like 5 weeks. We get back, and it's the summer class, and we're like, damn, like one of the bays or stalls, whatever you want to call it, it was like kind of blocked off. And like when we went back in, we're like, what the hell happened? And we looked, and to use the lifts, there was like we had pipes, right? And they were in front of the lift. And we also had a computer room where you can use all data and you can do your work in there on the computers. And there was one stall that was directly in front of it, like directly in front of that door. So apparently what someone had did, all right, one of the other students was like, hey, I want to bring in my car. I want to check it out on something. All right, cool. And so what we would do, um, someone, was in the car, kid was in the car because he was bringing it in, wanted to work on it. And then we would have someone kind of stay off to the front, to the side to kind of guide them in. And so they're guiding them in. All right, you're good. Just leave it there, bro. All right. Homeboy pulls a first time driver thing. Decides I'm going to step on the gas and not the brake. So he freaking steps on the gas hard. Car goes flying. Dude had to, like, I don't know, use his spidey sense, jump over the car. Well, not jump over the car, but I'm exaggerating. He jumped out of the way of the car, hit the pole to lift the freaking dang lift. And then he hit, like, we had lockers in front of the or like workbenches in front of along that wall in front of the computer lab, and boom, hit it. Like the door was like kind of smashed. And yeah, this, hey, what the hell happened? Kid was like scared. I told you, I thought it was the brake. Nah, dude, you floored it into the wall, almost killed the kid, and almost shut down the freaking automotive program. So when we got back, hey guys, that lift is off limits. Oh, really? I wonder why. I never found out who it was. We never found out who it was. But that thing, it was crazy. It was crazy. We had that, and then there was always we would call her the Miata lady. It's all coming back to me. We would call her the Miata lady, and it was just funny. So, anyways, from her name, she obviously had a Mazda Miata. And I believe she didn't work at ELAC. She was from around the neighborhood. So she would bring in her car because she was like, I'm not going to pay, crazy amount of money to get it worked on. So all she would do is get it, bring it, and then she would get it checked. And then we would try and fix it. A couple of times it was like radiator, it was hoses, it was this, it was, suspension work, brake work, oil changes, little things like that. Again, all she was paying for was the parts. She wouldn't pay labor. She had these students working for her. And it was fine because obviously we learn. We do something on her car. But she was always just a pain. Again, we're still learning. Some of us have never done anything. Some of us don't know the difference between our fucking hand and the wrench. And so she would come in and it got to the point where, again, shout out to Mr. Peña, he had to tell her off because something happened and it didn't come out right. And so she was like, I think her car was overheating and it kept overheating. She's like, came in and she was like yelling at the kid that worked on her car, like, you did it, you messed up my car, and still nah. So the professor had to step in and be like, listen, you're not gonna yell at them. You're gonna come talk to me. I'm the adult here, which, again, we're all technically adults, but we're, it's 18, 19-year-olds, kids. We're still kids. Shit. Most of us didn't even know what the fuck a W-2 was at that point. So we're over here doing that. And he's like telling her, like, listen, this is you signed a paper. It says, like, on those papers, like, hey, we did inspection, this and that. But, at the end of the day, we're still learning. It's still a class, right? So if something necessarily doesn't happen, where we can't be at fault unless, it's like a wheel off. So, something, right? So it was basically saying, like, you're taking that risk that you're giving your car to the student and in hopes that they get it right and they learn, basically. And so she was treating it like it was, her money, and that she paid us the labor. And so she was going off on this kid. Mr. Pena steps in. Hey, you can't do that. Well, what are you talking about? She was like, whoa, you messed up my car. It's like, no. This is what you're going to do. Here's your keys. You're going to get your car. You're going to move it because you're blocking the bay. You're not going to come back. And she was like, what? Like, yeah, there's students. This is a classroom. They're not professionals yet. And we never seen her again. It was a white Mazda Miata. you see a white Mazda Miata with an older lady in it in the Monterey Park East LA area, then guess what? That's the Miata lady. Throw an egg at her. Just kidding, but also I'm not. She probably deserves it, right? Which is funny because when I worked at Weber's Auto Parts, um, I brought up this story to them. I was like, "Yeah, there's this crazy lady," and they're like, "Oh, like a Mazda Miata." And I was like, "Yeah, a white Mazda Miata." And they're like, "Oh, is it this?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, she looks like that." And they're like, "Oh my god, she comes in here every now and then, and she's annoying." I'm like, "Oh shoot, they know the myth of the Mazda Miata lady," so that she would go into the store, and obviously, she was getting her part so that we can work on it. But that when she would come in, they would ask her like, "Oh, are you sure it's this?" Like, trying to be helpful again. The guys at Weber's Auto Parts, they have been in the industry for 40 years. It was the same guys running it, the same guys working there. So they've been around a car or two. A bunch of them are in car clubs. They have their own cars. Their friends, their best friends have shops, and so they know some stuff. They know some things. They're professionals. They're good. And so they would ask her like, "Oh, are you sure?" And she would be like, "Yeah, yeah." That she would just be like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. My professor told me. The professor told me. Give it to me now." And that they would be like, "All right." And one of the times, when a coworker was telling me like, we had a bunch of hoses that would hang, that we would just hang on the ceiling, right? Coolant hoses, radiator hoses, little trans hoses, little things, and that she needed one like the upper radiator hose, lower radiator, anything, whatever. And obviously, we look it up. And we're like, "Oh, we don't have it. It's gonna be a special order. We can have it by tomorrow or something like that." And she straight up looked them in the eye and was like, "Oh no, 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 don't worry about it. Just find one on the top, and I got time. I'll wait." And he was like, "No, you're not listening to me. None of these are gonna fit. That's why I'm telling you. I gotta order it." He's like, "No, no, no. There's a lot on the roof. Just look for one, and whatever fits, I'll take it." And he was like, "She being serious? Like, none of these fits." And that she was just like, "No, just find one that fits." And he's like, "That's what I did on this computer, and it's none of these are gonna fit. Like, I don't know what you want me to do." So apparently wherever she went in this Miata, she was just causing havoc. Like, she was just being a jerk to everybody, super entitled. And as a Mazda Miata, she could have sold it to somebody, and I mean, I'm sure it was a drift Miata now or something, but like it was just crazy. It was crazy for her to expect, top tier service at a school, right? Like, I don't know what she thought. She thought we were gonna bring it back from the dead. It was weird, but just the fact that wherever she went, she was leaving a trail of burnt bridges. Because I think it got to the point at Weber's Auto Parts where they were just like, "You know what, like, then go." They would tell her like, "Go back to your professor and have him tell us what to get you, because this is too much, man. This is way too much." But at the end of the day, I'm grateful that I did that. I'm grateful I took that leap. Um, and you'll be grateful too. If you're thinking of getting into this industry, or if you're unsure and you want to just kind of dip your toes in, why not? That's the whole point of college, right? Just trying new things. How people change their majors every semester. So I don't see why you couldn't. But back to school. Go out there, get your shoes, get your fresh fit, get them nice Dickies on, get in the shop, and get your hands dirty. Like I said, I'm very grateful for ELAC. I'm very grateful for the friends I made. Very grateful for our professors. Again, rest in peace, Mr. Pena. He's a great guy. Had a bunch of lessons. One of the best sayings he had. For all you Honda boys out there, whenever we talked about cars and like, "Oh, I want to buy this," or "You got to spend this amount of money," his thing would be like, "What? $10,000? I could buy 4 Hondas with that," or $6,000. I could buy 2 Hondas with that. Like, he would compare the bill or whatever to how many Hondas he could buy with that. And it always made us laugh. It always made me laugh because I was like, "Dang, that's true, man. Oh, with that down payment, you could buy a Honda with that." And of course, it was a joke, but it was kind of serious because again, little Honda boys were, they're a little cheap, little Honditas, they're cheap. I'm not saying that they're bad cars or anything, but they're just cheap. And so it was funny, he would always say that. What? I could have bought a Honda. You could have bought a Honda by now. Would have bought 2 Hondas with that. Definitely, you're gonna go the classroom route. Do it. It's fun. It's a big learning experience. Not only do you learn about shops, but you also learn about what goes on, in the front desk, to the customers, to service writers, to technicians. And if you got a good course, you got a good professor, they're going to teach you about ASCs, how to take the test. And that's how our tests were when we did our finals, when we did our midterms, when we did our little chapter quizzes, they were ASC tests. So technician A says this, technician B says this. Who's right? Who's wrong? Are they both telling the truth? I don't know. They would give you scenarios of, the battery's dying. When you turn it on, it's overcharging. What do you think it is? You get a wobble when you brake. You get a wobble going highway speeds, and it goes away when they're going 25 miles per hour. What could it be? And just overall, you're not going to regret it, right? Unless you take that whole course and then the next thing you know, you're like, I kind of want to be a kindergarten teacher. Then obviously you're going to regret it, but even then, you're going to learn something about your car and essentially save yourself money. So take the class, take them units, apply for financial aid, and if you're a first-time collegiate student, I believe you get 2 years free. So why not? You can finish in 2 years, and guess what? You don't owe anybody any money. All you got is knowledge, and you can pocket that and buy yourself a nice set of tools, a good little tool cart, and you're on your way. You're ahead of the pack. You got that knowledge, son. Big brain moves. I hope everybody has a good week. Hope everybody enjoys going back to school. No matter what level it is. Get out there, learn, get your hands dirty. And as always, everybody, you got to keep it Boyle Heights built. We'll see you on the next one.